You just made the deal of your lifetime and you've landed on a sizable amount of cash. Being a wise property investor, you decide to invest the extra money in a second property, only to realize that you may be liable for additional buyer's stamp duty, commonly known as ABSD. ABSD was introduced in December 2011 by the Singapore government to curb speculative buying in the property market. It was further raised in 2018 because the Singapore government believes that property prices have risen much faster than economic growth. If you are a Singaporean citizen buying a second property, you are liable to pay a whopping additional 12% of the property's price on top of the baseline buyer's stamp duty. However, there are some legal ways that you can use to avoid paying ABSD, and I will be glad to share them with you today. Firstly, if you are lucky enough to have children below 21 years old, you can buy your second property through a trust and list one of your children as the beneficiary and you as the trustee. While this means that ABSD would not need to apply to this property, it also means that the property belongs to your child and that you are merely taking care of it until he or she meets the age requirements specified in the trust. This may potentially create future conflicts, so you may have to be mindful of the potential consequences. In addition, because no banks will grant mortgage to a child, you will most likely have to pay for the property with full cash. Good thing you made that sizable amount of cash earlier. Secondly, if your current property is owned jointly with your partner, you can consider decoupling to avoid paying ABSD. This means that one of you will transfer the full ownership of your current property to the other. This can either be done by the way of a gift or by selling your share to your partner. The key thing to note would be that this may also create potential conflicts because one of you will have to legally own a lower value property than the other. This is of course unless you and your partner can have unwavering trust in each other, in which I would be very happy for you. Lastly, if your current property was purchased solely under your name, simply buy your second property under your partner's name. Since this would technically be your partner's first property purchase, your partner would not be liable to pay ABSD for the new property. As with the previous two approaches, this may create potential complications in the event of a divorce or death. As a final add-on, some of these measures may not work if your current property is a HDB flat, because HDB flats are subjected to much more restrictions. For example, decoupling of HDB flats has been disallowed since 2016. In a nutshell, there are ways that you can potentially avoid paying ABSD. You will have to carefully decide if the money saved on ABSD outweighs the likelihood and the severity of the potential implications that has been mentioned. I hope that you have gained some useful insights, and that's it for today. This is Isaac, keeping property real for you.